What if there were a single ancient prayer that, according to our sages, could draw an answer from heaven immediately, without ever uttering the divine name aloud? Hidden in 7 short lines, forged by one of the earliest masters of Jewish mysticism, whispered at the most charged moments of life and death. This is Ana Bekoach. Ana Bekoach is attributed to Rabbi Nehunya ben HaKanah, a sage who lived before Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. From his era until ours, these words have been carried by generations because inside this poem, the Kabbalists teach, lies the 42-letter name of God. The Arizal, the great mystic of Saft, recognized the staggering depth encoded here. And the Shelah HaKadosh, the author of Shnei Luchot Habrit, praised its power to lift a soul and shield it from harm when recited with understanding and awe. Let's open it with reverence and clarity. The prayer is written in 7 lines, each one made of 6 words. The tradition is to divide each line into 2 groups of 3 words. Then we quietly take the first letter of each of those words. The first 3 initials form a 3-letter combination. The next 3 initials form another. Together, within that single line, they create a 6-letter divine name. 7 lines mean 7 6-letter names, a total of 42 letters, the concealed 42-letter name of God, present but never pronounced. Why all this care? Because the Talmud teaches that the 42-letter name is not to be revealed except to a person who is truly modest and humble, one who has reached mature years, who does not anger easily, who does not become intoxicated, and who yields rather than explodes when wronged. Even great sages treated it with trembling respect. There is a tradition that one who ventured to pronounce it directly suffered severe consequences. The message is not fear, it's responsibility. Words and letters in the Kabbalistic view are spiritual forces. They create, they channel, they lift, and if mishandled, they can burn. So Ana Bekoach offers a path that is both potent and safe. The poem itself is a genuine prayer, rich in meaning even on the surface. But its initials, taken in that specific pattern, 3 and 3, allow a person to evoke the 42-letter name without pronouncing it. It's the same principle we use with the 4-letter name of God. We never speak it as written. In prayer we say a different name out of reverence. Here too the holiness is honored and the power is harnessed indirectly, properly, and with awe. If you've ever seen the text of Ana Bekoach, you may recognize the opening line. Those 6 words begin with Aleph, Bet, Gimel, then Yud, Tav, Tzadi, giving 2 triplets that form one of the 6-letter combinations. Each of the 7 lines contains its own pairing of triplets. To many, this sounds abstract. Letters and initials, a geometry of holiness. But the Kabbalists insist this is not wordplay. These are the same Hebrew letters by which, in our mystical tradition, God spoke reality into existence. Language is not just the clothing of thought. In the Torah's telling, it is the scaffolding of creation. Joining letters in the right order can open gates otherwise sealed. And that is why Ana Bekoach shows up at very specific thresholds in Jewish life. It is recited early in the morning before the regular prayers. It is recited at the entrance to Shabbat, a time when, according to our sages, we are granted a neshama yetera, an extra soul, or an expanded awareness, so we can rise higher into holiness. It is recited before sleep, when the soul loosens from the body's grip and wanders in a realm that is, the Talmud says, 1/60th of death. It is even recited near the end of life and in the rituals that accompany a Jewish burial to help shield and elevate the soul in its greatest passage. The Shelah draws a key to understand why. In the 6th chapter of Isaiah, the prophet describes the seraphim, the fiery angels, each with 6 wings. Take that literally, and you see a beautiful creature. take it as prophecy, and you sense a code. The 6 wings, he teaches, correspond to 6-letter names, forces that can lift a soul, just as wings lift a bird into the sky. Each line of Koach carries one set of these wings, 7 lines, 7 ascents. Think of it like climbing through 7 luminous gates, one after another, leaving the density of the day behind and moving closer to clarity, mercy, and light. That's also why intention matters. You don't throw wings over your shoulders and sprint into a storm. You prepare yourself. Even reciting Koach safely, without ever pronouncing the explicit name, asks for Kavanah, focused, humble intention. You slow down, you breathe, you know what you are saying. On the surface, you are asking, with the great power of your right hand, untie the knots that bind us. Receive your people's song, guard us, purify us, uplift us, lead us toward oneness, rescue and bless. Mark us for life, grant compassion, and accept our prayer. Beneath the surface, the initials hum with the resonance of the 42-letter name, drawing down protection and opening channels for ascent. We have to be honest about one more thing. People hear a prayer that makes God respond immediately, and they imagine a magic button. That's not what the sages meant. Immediate does not always mean material or dramatic. Sometimes it is the near instant softening of anger, the sudden loosening of fear, the clarity to see a better next step, the appearance of help at the right moment. From the outside, that may look ordinary. From the inside, it feels like a door you could never open, just swung free. There are also times to refrain. If you are intoxicated, furious, or treating it as a charm to control outcomes, step back. This is not a spell. It is a way to align yourself with Hashem's will, seeking mercy, clarity, forgiveness, and protection. The Talmud's criteria for the 42-letter name, modesty, maturity, gentleness, are also guideposts for the inner posture of this prayer. Even if you are not there yet, you can point yourself in that direction. Soften your ego, subdue your anger, be willing to yield and ask from the heart. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever recited Koach before sleep on Friday night or during a hard moment? What changed for you, even subtly? Share your experience or your questions in the comments. This community learns from each other's light. And if you're finding value here, consider liking this video and subscribing. It helps bring these teachings to more people who are searching. Let's return to the structure because understanding it can transform how you recite it. Each line is both a prayer and a ladder rung. When you speak the words, picture their meaning. When you sense the initials, imagine the wings unfolding. Line 1 asks for release. With the power of your right hand, untie the constrictions. You might think of a rope around your chest, a habit, a shame, a fear that suddenly loosens. The initials here form the first 6-letter name, the first pair of wings. Line 2 asks God to accept our song and to shelter us, gently, like a cloak in a cold wind. The initials form the second 6-letter name, a second set of wings. You can almost feel a lift at your back. Line 3 pleads for purity and awe because ascent without humility is dangerous. This line is like washing your hands before entering a palace, or lowering your voice before stepping into a great hall. Line 4 asks to be guided toward unity and guarded from harm. The Kabbalistic tradition speaks of destructive forces, mazikim, often the residue of our own misdeeds. This isn't superstition, it's psychology and spirit entwined. The negativity we create can become its own weather, and we need shelter from the storm we've stirred. Line 5 requests that the blessings of God's kindness descend upon God's people. Think of a warm rain through a break in the clouds, the kind that makes the air smell like earth and possibility. Line 6 cries out for rescue, the cry of someone who dares to be vulnerable. There is strength in knowing when you cannot save yourself. Line 7 seals the prayer by asking for mercy, for favor, for acceptance. It is a gentle knocking on a beloved door. Across these lines, the 7 6-letter names complete the hidden 42-letter name. As the Shelah hints, the 6-letter names are the wings. The whole is the flight. The times we say Koach reveal its purpose. Before sleep, when the soul partially ascends, it needs protection and guidance for the journey of dreams. At the entry of Shabbat, the extra soul needs wings to rise into the day's holiness. In the morning, before formal prayer, our scattered minds need gathering. Near death and in the rituals of farewell, when the soul loosens completely, these words are said to shield and lift. In each case, a threshold. In each case, a flight. How should you recite it? Slowly, with respect. If you can, learn how to say the Hebrew accurately, even if your accent is imperfect. Know at least the plain meaning of the words. As you speak each line, pause a heartbeat at the midpoint, remembering that on the level of the initials, you have moved from one triplet to the next, completing a 6-letter name. You do not need to visualize the letters sharply. Even knowing the structure is enough to shift your awareness. You are stepping from meaning into mystery and back into meaning again. It's also wise to set a small intention. Before sleep, you might say, I'm asking for protection, clarity, and good dreams. On Friday evening, I'm asking to feel the Shabbat more deeply. In a moment of fear, I'm asking for courage to do the next right thing. The Kabbalists say that intention is the soul of a mitzvah. The same is true for prayer. There is a beautiful gentleness built into this practice. The poem itself is humble and pleading, not triumphant. It does not demand, it asks. It assumes God's mercy is greater than our mess, that the same hand that shaped galaxies can untie the knots in one human heart. That is why so many people report immediate responses, because the first and most immediate field that changes is inside you. And when your inner field changes, the world often follows. One more word about caution, because the tradition is firm. Do not spin these ideas into superstition. Do not chase the letters as if they were talismans. The letters are holy because they point to the one whose light gives them life. Koach is not about controlling God. It is about aligning yourself with God's compassion and oneness. If you approach it with that tenderness, it can become a lifelong companion. So tonight, before you sleep, try it. Say the 7 lines gently. Imagine 7 gates opening. On Friday evening, as the light of Shabbat settles into your home, try it again. You may not hear thunder, you may not see fire, but you may feel something subtle and undeniable, like the air catching under unseen wings and lifting you little by little toward home.